Good evening, everybody. Hello, Penny Van, Gary Spikes. We got Crystal. Hello, Crystal. How's everybody doing on a Wednesday evening? Let's see who all else is coming in. How you doing there, Tracy? Oh, you're muted, Tracy. Hey, Catherine.
Is that better?
Let's see here. Yeah, there we go, Tracy.
I am doing well, Grizz. I'm doing well. The that TTYL song that I wrote is actually getting some airplay. Listening to my promoter, he said that there was a lot of people downloaded it as well, so that's cool.
Really?
Yeah,
Hello,
yeah.
Truthy Ruthie. Well, nice. Kathy Evans, welcome. So what do we have tonight?
Yeah, we have Kendall Welpton. Him and Kendall and his wife Vera Welpton. I'm actually kind of excited about this. I met them a few years back at their premiere of Sleepless Unrest here in Edwardsville, Illinois. And it was a really good documentary. They participate. They do. It's hard to explain. I'm going to let them explain it.
All right. Well, Kendall and Vera, come on down. Welcome.
Hey. Hello. Hi.
How are y'all doing? Introduce yourselves.
This is my beautiful wife, Vera, and I'm Kendall. We're filmmakers. We make documentary films, and we love the paranormal. So our films are based around the paranormal.
Anything strange and spooky, basically.
That's right up our alley, right?
Now, you're not just paranormal either. I've been digging around looking at some of your stuff. You're an author too, right?
Yeah. I just my first book, a children's book, actually.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Yeah, thanks for mentioning that. That's like something that I never expected to be able to do, and my kids inspired me. So yeah, we wrote a children's book.
No, that's inspiring. You know, that's just talent to me, because I couldn't write a book if I wanted to. I really couldn't. What about you, Grizz?
You'd be surprised.
Yeah, I'm still writing mine. Mine's still in the publisher. So yes, so
nice.
I know how it is. Yeah.
Good.
Nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think everybody has at least one story to tell.
Yeah.
There's always a story to tell.
There's always a story.
Yeah.
You all have many stories to tell, I hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's start at the beginning here. You know, I'd like to walk these people through. First of all, getting to know you, right? And one way to do that is, you're big into the paranormal, like you said, with the documentaries. What made you? At what age did you start thinking, hey, there's something else out there? Number one, and then how did it roll into this documentary stuff?
That's a loaded question.
It is.
It's a big one.
I apologize if I cough here and then also, because I'm just getting over this cold. Just want to give you a heads up. But for me, I've always been interested in the paranormal. I grew up listening to ghost stories from my parents, and my maternal grandfather was actually a treasure hunter who was actually hired to go dig in houses that were supposedly haunted because they believed that possibly there was a treasure, because he knew someone who lived in a haunted house who actually found a treasure. So he became obsessed, like golden coins from like the Spanish, I don't know what year, but like they were worth a lot of money. So he said, if there's one there, there's more. So He became obsessed with it. My mother had a really profound paranormal experience that nobody believed there for a while until her grandpa witnessed it himself. And then they both were like just baffled. And then my grandpa was, okay, there's a treasure. So he digged all over the house and he didn't find nothing, but he ended up finding a body.
What?
Like holes in the floor.
Yeah, I remember being little, and that's happened when my mother was 15. But I remember being little, going to my grandparents' house and seeing uneven floor levels and sometimes like holes, like they were just.
That's something out of a movie.
Yeah.
It is. That's my childhood, That's how I grew up, listening to the stories from both sides, mostly my mom's, and I mean, that was just normal for me. It's just like I got older. I never really experienced something crazy as a child. I did have an experience seeing like what it looked like to be a full body operation of a little child who was asking us, me and my cousins, to go play. And we followed her in this room, and this room was empty. There was nobody there. So I do remember that vaguely as a child. But she didn't look scary. It was just a girl wearing white. That's a story that I remember as a child. But like later on, I didn't experience anything really. I was too busy just being teenager, and
Teenager tearing
yeah,
up the
boy,
floors, putting
and like,
holes in walls, looking for gold and dead bodies.
I love stories. I remember my first spooky book I ever read. My mother had a copy of this. Well, what's it called? The Entity.
Yeah.
She had the book, and I was not allowed to touch any of those books because she had books about it. And I remember reading it and not being able to finish it because it was just too. It was like, oh my gosh, no, this is just beyond. That's like beyond. Like that's frost stuff. And as a child, like yeah, that was too much. Then I just I got older, and I didn't really got invested into the whole paranormal. I didn't even know there were paranormal groups. And I was like in my 20s. I had no idea there was like such a thing as groups and people that actually did this. Like I watched all the movies, like Poltergeist, all these things. I knew about psychics and stuff. And I read a lot about it. I was always reading, always reading and learning. But I didn't do it until my father passed away. And I had a really crazy experience with him where he passed away before I made it to the hospital. And then we really couldn't say goodbye. And I was really, really hurting because of that, among other things that were happening in my life. But anyway, I started smelling his cologne, and it's a very peculiar cologne. And I just thought it was like a weird joke. I was smelling it at a nursing home when I was working as a nurse, and then I just thought it was somebody else's cologne. So I was looking and looking and looking. I couldn't find it, and then it was gone. The cologne was gone. I was like, all right, whatever. I'm mourning. I'm just remember him. I didn't make any big deal out of it. Then a partner, a girl tech that was working with, said, hey, can you help me with this patient? I got to grab some towels. She's in the shower. So I was like, yeah, no problem. So I came in to watch over this patient who was an elderly woman, kind of catatonic. She never spoke. She was just kind of bent over, always like this. It was towards the end stage of her life. And I just got to monitor her so that she wouldn't fall. Out of nowhere, this lady looks up at me and then looks over my shoulder this way. And she goes, your father is very handsome.
Wow.
With the elderly voice and her beautiful blue eyes that I had never even seen before because they were always closed before. And then she just went back down. And I was just like, I don't know what happened that day. The tech comes back and she looks at me and she starts laughing. And she literally says, you look like you saw a ghost. And I was just like, are you kidding me? Like I was pale. I had no idea because I had been smelling his cologne, for days. And then this lady who never speaks says this. So that got me going. It's like, if this is my dad, I need to find out. I need to find out if this is really him. How do I talk to him? If he's talking to me, I need to be able to communicate. And so I started reading. And then I started watching Ghost Hunters. I kind of, came across the show. And then they were doing some casting. And then I applied because I thought it was going to be like a real academy where I was going to learn and be taught how to talk to my dad. And of course it wasn't. It was a reality TV show. It was nothing to do with that. But that led me to meet Kendall, who was a camera operator on the TV show. And then I got to meet some of the best people in the field. And that's how I started really into this side of things. And from then it was just common sense. It was just it was natural for us to just film because we experienced things, we would never film them. And then we regretted it. We would always like, dang, why didn't you film?
We'd have stuff happen at home, or when we're staying at, Airbnbs or investigations.
We would go investigate, sometimes just to go investigate, but we were never filming.
Yeah.
And it was like, why are we not filming this stuff? And that's how Rowan Angel was born.
So then,
Grizzly's had a few instances with cigarette smoke, wasn't it, Grizz?
Yeah. So I got
From
a
your grandpa.
question. The woman that saw your father, did she end up passing away shortly after?
That's a good question. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm not sure. It had to be close to the end because eventually I think I ended up moving away from that location.
And you think she passed soon after?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and the reason why I ask, it's been told that when people get ready to pass, they're so close to the veil, they can see other spirits.
Mm-hmm.
So that when you said that, that's the first thing that came to my mind. She was close to the end, and she saw your dad.
I mean, it's funny at the time how much I wanted not to believe, and I tried to find a rationalization. But the more I've over the last 15 years that I've been doing this, I'm like, yeah, that was my dad. That was dad.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Especially because the way he, he left. I didn't make it on time to the hospital, and it was this big trauma, and of course it was him.
Right.
Yeah.
What about you, Kendall? When you were young, what got you? Where you two met there at the Ghost Hunters?
Yeah, for me, it's a lot like Vera. Actually, it's funny because we started, doing these interviews, and we realized how much we had in common when we were younger with the paranormal stuff. My grandma was into it. My parents, when my whole family would get together, my uncle had a place that was, haunted, and things would happen there, and everybody want to catch up on what was going on at my uncle's haunted place. And, my cousin and I, we would go and play a Ouija board, and it was just something that was kind of normal almost to talk about, and so taking that through, I ended up moving. I graduated high school and I moved out to Colorado, and I was pursuing snowboarding. I wanted to be a professional snowboarder. And so the best thing to do was move to a mountain town and, snowboard every day. So I moved out to this town called Fairplay, Colorado, and it's out in South Park. It's about 10,000 feet up in the mountains.
Like this South Park.
It's like the South Park from the cartoon. The cartoon. Yeah. So my buddy and I, we moved out to Colorado, and we went to, actually how we found the place was interesting. We couldn't find a place to live, and we went to the grocery store and we asked the checkout clerk, we're like, hey, is there any places to rent around here? Before the internet and everything. And she's like, oh yeah, you want to talk to so-and-so over at the big house down the road. It's got a few apartments. So we signed up and we called and went in and found the place, and it was great. Moved in, and my first night at the place, I have a major paranormal experience with this wind just coming over my face, ruffling my sleeping bag. No windows in the room. The door was closed. There was no possible way for that big of a gust of wind to hit me, and it scared me, and I got a job at the snowboard factory. I started asking around about, hey, what's up with that old house over there? I think, it's haunted. And they're like, oh, that's the old hospital. That's not a house. I was like, oh my God. So then I started looking around and I saw that, there's a mortician's table down in the basement still.
Which that was the laundry room now.
That was the laundry room.
And I love that story that you would go fold your clothes.
I would fold my clothes on the old mortician table. So then I started having these experiences at the place, and it was very mischievous. It really wanted our attention, and it was actually annoying because it cost us money, because it would turn on our heat and all our lights when we're down in Boulder hanging out with our friends. We'd come back, everything be on, and we're like, at this point, you're costing us money. Anyway, long story short, I end up stopping I stopped snowboarding, and I moved out to Los Angeles to be a stuntman. I was hoping to be a stuntman, and in the process of that, I became a cameraman, and so I applied for this job on Craigslist, ghost hunting show, gearing up quick, and sure enough, I got hired, and it was on Ghost Hunters, and I stuck on that show for
many years.
Yeah, you're on there for a while, weren't you?
15 years or something. Yeah, a lot of seasons, a lot of investigations, a lot of locations, over 500, 600 locations. Just some of the best people I've ever had working with them, the most experienced people. I learned a lot from them. And then, like Vera said, we met on set of Ghost Hunters Academy. Yeah. And, I think it was a year later, we ended up getting married. I mean, we just fell head over heels for each other.
A year later?
Maybe a year and a half. I don't know. It was all meant. It was awesome. And then, a few years after that, we started our company, Robot Ninja Media.
Mm-hmm.
And Steve Gonzalez, a really good friend of mine, who is one of the best paranormal investigators ever, had a place in Mississippi. He calls me, asks, hey, you want to come out and check this place out? And we ended up doing a documentary on it. It's a House in Between.
House in Between. Yeah.
And yeah, that's kind of Robot Ninja's first big project. And then, after that, Vera and I went head deep into the Sleepless Unrest. And then actually during the Sleepless Unrest, we were filming the new one, which is the Haunting Lodge. We actually filmed that before we started filming that.
Yeah.
And then the House in Between too. So we're on documentary number 4 that just released. And
working on number 5.
Working on number 5. Yeah.
That's awesome.
That is cool. So the Ghost Hunters show, let's start there. Man, you were on there for a while, so you had to have seen a lot of stuff, right? Yeah. And we all talk a lot on our podcast with other people about, it usually takes like a week, sometimes a week or more just to get, a half an hour worth of footage. So being on that show, just going to ask you a couple obvious questions. What was like the one place on there that you were like, holy cow, I was not expecting this to be so haunted?
There's a bunch. And sometimes I'm asked that. There's been 500 or 600 cases. Truthfully, like, it's just crazy. And the ones, sometimes it like this one pops in and that one pops in. But it's weird. But some of the ones that stand out, there's this one case that we had that never made air. We ended up showing up at this apartment and they didn't get the location release. We're the first people in. We're the crew. And this family is freaked out, man. Like the kids' eyes are bugged out. The wife and husband just sat there at the table, just like kind of like in still. They were freaked out. There was, they were claiming that there was a poltergeist entity terrorizing their family. And, you go into the house and you could just kind of sense something had happened. And, that one was a little freaky. The place felt very, very heavy. And that one sticks out in my head as one of the more interesting kind of scenes that we walked into. One of the top locations for me is probably because they opened it up just for the camera crew. And that was Alcatraz in the tunnels of Alcatraz. I got to go down there and then, I followed some of the investigators down there.
Didn't you like the fort,
Waverly Hills? We're the first team to investigate Waverly Hills.
No, Wright-Patterson, sorry.
Yeah. Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, was life-changing for me. Waverly Hills was really cool when we first went in.
The doctor one where the
Dr. Physic, the Dr. Physic house in Philly.
I mean, after knowing you, that's the one that you came home the most.
This one, there's 2 cases I'll talk about right now. That's Dr. Physic house and the other one, which is Tom. What's his name? The writer. Jeez, man, I'm sorry.
Nathan.
No. It's like,
Oh.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, this is terrible. Mark Twain. Mark Twain. Sorry. Mark Twain. I'm sorry.
Oh,
yeah. Ooh,
so
I'll tell the story about Mark Twain first.
Story?
Yeah. This again never made camera, and this is like this never made the show. So we do interviews. I'm like the DP, and I set the interview up and the camera, and we have a mom and a daughter, and the mom doesn't speak English, and the daughter is translating for her, and the mom is freaked out because she had an experience at the Mark Twain house, and
they were doing a tour. You can go do tours at the Mark Twain house. They were doing a tour, and the mom freaks out and starts, this is what she's going to talk about, and this is her story that she's going to tell us. So she said that her mom got possessed and flew across from the stairwell to a wall and flew into the wall and then started speaking crazy, and she just wouldn't snap out of it, and they had to leave, and they never came back.
And so we were
But
interviewing them.
But they was documented at the house as an event,
Yeah.
a normal event.
Yeah, it was like
so when you guys went to film again,
we were
invited.
asking. Yeah, we invited them back. We invited them
for
back
an
to
interview.
do the interview about this story. Well, I start rolling my camera. We're going. The producer starts asking some questions, and they're talking about. I'm sorry, I'm going to probably mess this up. It's either a white dress or a black dress, and I think it was a black dress that they thought she was wearing. They're like, they were trying to describe the ghost that she had seen, and they're like, was she wearing a black dress? Was she wearing a black, what did she look like? And so all of a sudden the lady is like looking towards the producer, and then she looks straight into my camera and is like, it was a white dress. And like her eyes were super black, like completely. Her pupils were
I watched this video.
They were huge. They were
so dilated.
And she's speaking perfect English. Perfect English. And she sounded almost like a southern country valley, California valley.
Wow.
It was so odd. And she's like, what's going on? Who is this? And she's like literally talking to the crew, like, what are you guys doing? Like, she was just kind of like,
why are you in my house?
Why are you in my house? And the daughter starts crying, and she's like, see, I told you this is what happens when we come into this place. And the two got up and just left. Like, they were like, we're out of here. And they left. And after seeing her face and knowing, like, in the interview, like, I think there was something that she channeled something.
She could have been a medium and she didn't even know about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one freaked me out. That was like, she got me because she looked right in my eyes, and I was like, whoa. Like,
her eyes were black.
Yeah, it was like.
And that was in Hannibal, Missouri, at the Mark Twain house. Is that right or not?
Is that Mark Twain? No, I thought it was. Oh boy, is that Hannibal, Missouri?
No, it's in.
No.
There's probably a different one. I just know Mark Twain had a house in Hannibal, Missouri.
Hartford, Connecticut, I think it is.
Oh, okay.
I think that's it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Hannibal, Missouri is where he wrote, I think, Tom Sawyer or something like that. So they have a house dedicated to him. I was like, that's only like 2 hours away from me. I might have to go there, but.
Yeah,
the Mark Twain house. It's
Hartford, Connecticut.
Hartford, yeah. It's a really cool place. And so we got that, and that was interesting. The Dr. Physic house, this one was on one of the episodes. This one was crazy for me. Dr. Physic was he invented a bunch of medical devices, and he was kind of like this prominent gentleman who had a mansion in Philadelphia, and he invented the soda pop. And so, like, he's got some street cred to him. Well, he was like doing these procedures, and this shady thing that he had a little laboratory down in his basement that he was doing these, like, he was trying to like sew like different arms onto people and trying to make them stay. And he was doing all these rogue surgeries. He was buying cadavers, and they deliver them in the middle of the night, so for him to like test his tools on and stuff. So he was really kind of mad scientist, Frankenstein stuff. And so I'm with Jay and Steve down in the basement of this location, and we go in deep, and then we come back out, and those guys, when I'm the camera guy, I let the guys kind of walk out of the room so it can kind of cut nicely to the next shot, so I stay in the room by myself. Well, I'm letting them walk out, and all of a sudden I hear this noise, and then it just sounds like this thing rolling and picking up speed towards me. Well, all of a sudden I look down, and this laundry cart slams full speed into me, and I filmed it. It's actually on the episode. So this thing was way over in the corner, probably 10, 15 feet away. Against the wall. It had to like right itself and then go boom like this. So that one freaked me out. I called Daryl right after it happened. I'm like shaking. I'm like, you're not gonna believe what happened here. This is crazy. But that was a good experience. That one got my sister.
Yeah. I was going to ask, it has to be a different perspective being the guy behind the camera, filming the guys that are, in it, so to speak, but really you guys are in it just as much as they are.
Yeah, if not more, because we go back. They do their investigations. We go back. We walk around by ourselves in the dark to do
this
B-roll.
I didn't know, which is amazing. Yeah. These guys, so the investigation is over. They have to go back and do pickups and B-roll.
Oh yeah.
So if something happened, and this hallway, they're like, well, we didn't get a good shot of the hallway. They got to go back by themselves in the dark with a camera, and then God have mercy, like one day I remember you were doing a recreation of a door, and then out of nowhere the door slammed so hard. That was in New Orleans, I remember. And you're in the walk-in, talked to him about haha, who did it? He thought that he was being pranked, but nobody was up there. Nobody could have been up there. It was a government building, and I had the only electric key to get people in. I had to do this recreation of because that's the claim, is the door slams really loud in there. And so I was getting that shot for the show, and you said I did it once and I filmed it, and then all of a sudden I'm just like kind of getting ready to go, and I just hear this boom, and this door just sounded like it exploded, like really loud. And I was like, somebody's in here messing with me. But then I called my guys on the radio, and they're like, no, we're waiting in the car for you. I was like, okay. But then you said it felt almost like the ghost or whatever it was showing you exactly. I was like, that's not loud. That's not what it was. This is it.
What all did you guys get if you don't mind me asking, when you were at the Waverly Hills? Because that's Chris's backyard for a little bit there.
Yeah, I'm right down the road from there. My mom used to work there, by the way.
Oh, wow. Nice. No, we love Waverly. Yeah, I've been there probably five times now.
Yeah, when she was a child, she used to play in the tunnels, or the deaf chute, the tunnel.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So if you've been there 5 times, and just curious, what did you have you noticed any difference each time? Did you get more that first time because you were the first team to really go in there and do it, or have you seen a change?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, doing investigations, it's like fishing. I make this analogy all the time. It's like fishing. A spot is hot sometimes it's not. Sometimes you go on the same day, same everything. There's just no rhyme or reason. So, it's hard to judge. But yeah, I go 5 times. It's some days it's going to be crazier than others. And, when we first went in there, it was crazy. There was amazing audio. There was amazing disembodied voices. Audio. There was amazing door slams, I think we had like every possible, checklist item. I think one of the guys even saw a full body apparition in there when we first went. So, we had a lot of, and I remember it actually changed the show of Ghost Hunters after going in there, because there was such a good response to that large location. That was the largest location that the show had ever been. Yeah. And then after that, it was like, because it kicks the crew's butt. When you go there, you're like, you're running around up the stairs, down the stairs, over here, over there, all over the place, So after that, it was massive location after massive location.
That was my first big location.
And that's where we met. Yeah,
we met at Waverly. Scared. I remember you just walking through the dark hallway, disappearing. I'm like, where the hell is he going? No flashlight, nothing.
So that's an interesting thing, because it was Ghost Hunters Academy, right? That's where you were trying out for a part, I guess, is what you said. I'm really interested.
It's funny because when I go higher, it was just an academy to go be a student and learn. So I was like, I'm going to learn, for my dad. And then they switched it. They turned it into, because at the time, The Apprentice, whatever, with Trump was hot. It was like the hot TV show. So they switched it into a reality elimination show. Yeah, in the middle of it.
It was supposed to be this fun adventurous
thing. They asked us, do you want to stay? Because this is going to be a different show. One person actually left. He's like, no, thank you. Most of them signed, and I kind of kept them holding because I didn't know. I was like, I don't know if I want to be in. This is crazy. But then I was like, why not? Whatever, let's do it. And then I did it. I had a friend who was a lawyer, so I had him read the contract. And I was like, this sounds really scary. But he's like, if you don't mind signing away everything basically. And then you're good. And I was like, all right, whatever. So I'm glad I did that, because then.
Oh my God. I met you.
I almost didn't do it though. Because I wasn't into the whole elimination thing. And but I was like, great, I'm the Hispanic. I'm gonna be the first one to go. I'm like, I just knew I was gonna be the first one to go. And you know, like in the whole horror movies, the minorities always go. Like, it's gonna be, I know it. But I was impressed. I actually made
you made it all the way in.
I made 5 out of 6. Which the 6th one, I was so sad because it was the Stanley Hotel, and I wanted so bad. I haven't been.
I've been there a few times. Yeah.
You've been there a bunch, but yeah. But anyway, yeah. Back to what you were saying. Waverly. Waverly. So yeah, the EVPs.
There's like, and they kind of blend, but I just remember that first time being like just so active. Yeah, it was just so active and so like, you know, there was no windows, like all those nice windows in the place. The place was like completely abandoned. It was actually, the foundation was like, somebody, I think the previous owner was trying to like sabotage the foundation or something. It was like, it was a mess, you know? And so, yeah, it was really cool.
EVPs, I mean, you know, you're not a big fan of EVPs.
I am.
It has to be something very good.
It's got to be,
you're very picky.
It's got to be good with some backup, you know, some footage and multiple.
But
devices.
I got an EVP of a man speaking a different language. I have no idea what it was. There was someone screaming, and you can hear me and the person who were, you know, I just kept recording. We got out of the tunnel, and you can hear us walking on the gravel and just chit-chatting, blah, 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 and you hear this man screaming and in the distance and a different language. And I was like, that was just crazy. And apparently some people have captured that too. And then in the basement over by where they used to do the haunted house.
Yeah, that's the more.
Okay. We caught an EVP of like 2 elderly people talking. It sounded like 2 elderly people with like even like a little accent or something. It was really cool.
Nice.
Having a conversation. I mean.
No, that place has got, I mean.
Yeah, I didn't see
it's got a lot going on there. I mean, and then, you know, every team that's been through there usually gets stuff.
Yeah,
so.
they do.
Yeah.
But you did mention that over the years it has maybe.
Yeah, you know, like I said,
it's been.
I think the last time I went, you know, that was Ghost Hunters 2.0. No, we had a good case. Grant brought in the Tesla coil, the big Tesla coil. I think that amps stuff up. I really do. I think that was neat. Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, we had some good stuff on 2.0, on Ghost Hunters 2.0. Yeah.
No, awesome. So then, if you don't mind, walk us to the house in between. That was your first documentary, correct?
Yeah, that was our first paranormal documentary for Robot Ninja. I've shot a lot of documentary TV and done fishing. Did a show called Battlefish that was very documentary, and that's on Netflix. And so yeah, you know, we've always wanted to do one for the paranormal and do, you know, just do it very raw and real and just, you know, just very, very just, you know, just kind of take people through the investigation and, you know, tell a story. We wanted to tell somebody's story that was very intimate. And, you know, that we got really just blessed with Alice Jackson's case, which is the house in between. Steve Gonzalez called us and shortly after, I think we started pre-production on it right away and just jumped right in. You know, Alice needed our help really because she wasn't living in the house at all.
She would be there during the day.
She would be there during the day.
She would not sleep there at all.
She wouldn't sleep there. She had an experience at the house.
Steve made it a personal mission to help her claim her house back.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
I'm sorry. What was the history of that house?
It was no history. Mm-hmm. That's the crazy thing. It was built in the 90s, and you know,
she bought the
land.
Was
a new house. So, but right away, tools and experiences started happening. Tools
there's
disappeared.
History, but it wasn't anything tragic or dramatic.
It was history on the land.
Yeah.
It was more history on the land and
the town.
The town burnt down, and so but the house itself was interesting because there was no rhyme or reason to have a new house kind of be acting how it was, and which was great coming in is
It wasn't your typical old home.
John
story,
Bullard and Brad Cooney had been investigating the home for a decade, capturing evidence. They had a full-time DVR system in there running all the time, and they just kind of logged all their footage and stuff. So that helped us tell the story. It actually turned it into a really good kind of crime style mystery doc. You know, it was really neat. Found footage, you know, and we had fun with it. And, you know, we got some really good experts involved. We got, you know, some scientists and physicists. And so we got to talk to some people with, you know, that we showed them some footage of stuff that had happened and, you know, got their thoughts on what they might think it is. We were trying to give Alice a rational explanation of what was going on there. So maybe she'd move back in, but, you know, the house is very, very playful. So,
wow.
Yeah. You know, and it's neat you say that about just being new, built on land. I've been a member of a organization before that is mostly Indian land people would build on, and it'd be a house that'd be maybe a year old. They start getting, you know, a lot of activity Native American land. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely possible to have that. I'm from the Alton, Illinois area. I'm sure you heard of Mineral Springs Mall and all that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we have a few places around here that have had that happen. People build houses. I got called to investigate not too long ago to go out and check one out, and we're trying to set that up as we speak. So
nice.
But yeah, it's definitely it's neat, or not neat, not neat for the people that are in there. But.
Yeah, but
it's
good.
An interesting pattern, you know, because I mean, we were surprised. It was a brand new house, and
it just didn't make sense to the normal, you know, haunting that you're used to. Yeah.
I mean, you buy a house and you're like, hey, you know, you're getting ready to raise your family, whatever. You move in, you're not expecting anything like that. Then all of a sudden stuff starts happening. That would be just totally creepy because you're like, that can't be happening. There ain't no way.
Yeah.
So then you guys, you rolled through that, and then we started talking earlier about the sleepless unrest. That's actually where I got to meet you guys afterwards, after the show. That was the first documentary I'd seen by you guys, and it was very, very interesting, and it was very good, very well filmed. I liked it. It wasn't just like a normal documentary, right? That's why I like your documentary. You know, most of those things you go to, they kind of get boring after a while because, you know, they're just trying to explain stuff to you, but you guys being there, actually being in it, which was pretty cool too. And if you want to talk about that, and just so everybody knows, the Sleepless Unrest was at the Conjuring House. And these guys spent the night there, or spent a week there.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
With Brian Murray and Rochelle Stratton. And, yeah. So if you wouldn't mind to talk us through that.
We got the call. So before that, we were actually filming in Georgia, a case, and I had experienced something really, really intense. And so we came home and we were planning to just kind of take a break for the holidays and all that. And then Brian and Rochelle called us and they invited us to go.
The Conjuring House.
The Heinzens.
The Heinzens.
The Heinzens said that, you know, they would love to if we will go.
The Heinzens were the current owners who started allowing people to stay.
Yeah,
they were there at that premiere.
Yeah, the house was privately owned. Even when the whole Conjuring films came out, the house was privately owned. And then the lady sold it, and the Heinzens bought it. And then they were paranormal investigators, so they opened it up to public, and that's how we ended up there. And at the time, people were just staying, you know, for like a
couple
night,
days or a night, yeah.
But we decided to test it and be like, hey, what would happen if we actually stay there longer? And we asked them, can we stay and for a few days? And they were like, absolutely, let's do it. And we did it. So instead of doing the documentary like you explain, you know, your typical doc where you actually tell the story and you have B-roll stories or interviews, we wanted to just make it more like a real life investigation experience. We wanted to live in the house and put ourselves in the owner's shoes and film it that way to see. It was exciting for just personal, you know, for our own personal
Yeah, we weren't really sure if it was going to be a doc or if it was just going to be like a YouTube thing, or we were just kind of like, let's just go and film everything. We've always wanted to do it, and we don't. It was during COVID, so we had full access.
And also, we were limited at how many people we could bring. It was late 2020.
Yeah.
So it was like right in the middle of it. So
we caught like the first snow there. It was beautiful. It was such an experience. It
was beautiful and then dark.
Yeah,
and
we held the best way to
and then dark. And it was
explain it. It's like the house had multiple personalities, and for us to film it, we were just hanging on by the seat of our pants, like being in it and trying to do production. But we knew right away, we're like, this is a documentary for sure. Like as soon as we got there, the first night, the second night, started having stuff. It was like, all right, this is going to be good. We're just documenting, ourselves and our experience. And that was the whole thing.
There's a lot of scenes that didn't make the film.
Yeah.
That I'm still going to try to see if I can somehow cut them and put them just out, maybe in YouTube, to kind of just show.
We captured a lot.
We captured a lot, but it was really hard to tell a story from that point of view. We actually challenged ourselves really, really hard.
Yeah, it was a big, ambitious project to do it the way we did it. How you're saying you like feeling like you're part of the investigation and you're kind of along for the ride. That's actually a very hard thing to kind of put together.
Paranormal, because you can predict if anything's gonna happen, or when, or or it might be something that we experienced that it was so intense, but it doesn't even come across on camera, and the audience is like, "Oh, that's dumb." And for us, it was like,
oh my god,
we were like freaking out.
Yeah, the floor just shook. Like that happened. It was like a sonic boom pulse in the floor.
It was vibrating.
But like the cameras didn't really, nothing. There's no meters or anything.
But it was so intense
that
even Corey Heinzen, the owner, he checked to see if there was like a mini earthquake.
It was wild.
So intense.
We're like, what was that?
All kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
So much happened.
This is nuts.
Yeah.
Now, remember in the question thing afterwards, question and answer you guys did, one of you had something that you thought kind of hung around you after that, didn't you?
Oh,
that was you, wasn't it, Vera?
It was him.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Corey Heinzen. So when they went into the attic, they found a very old nail. It was like the square top. It would look very, very
it
old.
was like an old roofing nail.
And I was just like, it looks like in the house. It's old. Like it was built by late 1500s, early 1600s.
Oh my gosh,
old. And so they were just joking, and Corey Hudson at the end was like, "Oh, you can keep it. It's a souvenir." He kept it. And
wrong answer.
Yes, everybody brought. Rochelle brought dirt. She just bring dirt from the backyard where supposedly there's bodies buried.
Brian got a doll,
and Brian was given a doll that looks just like the Annabelle doll.
Exactly.
And I didn't get anything. I was like, no, thank you.
Good for you. Good for you.
I'm married to this one and living in the same house. So
we're always on guard. We're always ready.
Dude, I never believed in this stuff before, but seriously, I've never really.
We're ready to film anything, so.
And I'm ready to bless, anoint, and crucify.
There you go.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Well, she's right. Yeah, I mean, I took it a little far. I shouldn't have brought that into our house.
You just didn't believe.
I didn't believe in it, and I didn't believe it.
A lot of people don't until it happens.
And then it happened, and then I was like, and it affected my children, my little girl. So I was like, okay,
they didn't know
this has gone too far,
and
it went too far. I mean, we literally documented a whole case and a whole experience. I mean, you ever want to just see the full effects of like a very long investigation? Our movies are
we really didn't have time to document that part as well. It was fast.
We didn't think anything would happen.
No, I'm talking about the end, like when we started and things like we had to deliver the film.
Yeah.
So we couldn't really elaborate on
all that either. Yeah, you're right.
That was happening.
Yeah. We had it. Stuff was happening for.
Everybody suffered. Yeah. Everybody had something,
months.
And also psychologically speaking, which I've never experienced.
I had a weird draw to the house. Like I just start thinking about it and be like, I got to go back there. I felt like I just had to go back and
and like if you see a video of
go and be
somebody
there
in the
again.
house and the bedroom where we stayed, you'll be like jealous.
Oh yeah, I'd be like, what are
Like,
they doing
that's
staying in my
bedroom.
bed?
It's like,
It was weird. It was so
that's
weird.
my
I've never
bed.
felt like that before.
It's just so
creepy.
creepy.
It's so weird. Yeah.
Creepy.
But we did have a really good experience there. We had a really great investigation. You know, would that happen to anybody that wanted to go there? Probably not. I think us staying there so long, you know, I think it you know, got to, I don't know.
Don't sugarcoat
Yeah,
it.
I don't know. I think staying there definitely long period of time, long exposure, definitely, you know.
Yeah, no, I understand that. So then after that, did you go to the Haunting Lodge next or the House in Between Two?
We finished filming Georgia, the Haunting Lodge.
The Haunting Lodge, yeah.
But then we went into post-production for that. But then we put it on hold because we got called to do House in Between Two.
And we did. We held off on the Haunting Lodge because her experience that she had, that she talked about when we first went there before the Conjuring home. I mean, it was so wild that we didn't know what to do, or if she could even go back and stay again and do the rest of the film. So we just kind of put it on hold, we went back and we finished the film out, and then we put the edit on hold, and then we went out to the House in Between. We did the House in Between 2 with Steve, and we did that film, and then, you know, we got right to it. Right after that, right after delivery, we started seeing how we were going to hit this Haunting Lodge movie. And
she's our latest film right now.
We just released.
It's just released a month ago.
Yeah, and it was one of the hardest films we've done. I mean, it legitimately took almost 3 years from start to deliver, you know, start to screen.
That one we did the opposite from Sleepless. Sleepless was more an experience, staying there, filming everything. The Haunting Lodge, we actually took it from scratch, a location that has never been investigated before, brand new. No known at all, in the middle of nowhere in Georgia. So we had to start from scratch. We had to start interviewing the town, people in the town. You know, we got historian. We did a lot of research.
A lot of history.
I had no idea.
Deep dive into the history there.
Like, we went from a location that is super popular, known, famous worldwide.
Conjuring
Many
house.
people been there. They all know kind of what's happening, what's going on, to something that is scaring the crap out of hunters.
Yeah.
and we took it. That was the most challenging film.
Yeah, that film, because she had her experience, I had my experiences there. We just, you know, when you're editing this stuff, it's hard because you know your experience is so personal to you.
Yeah.
It's like you don't want to like leave anything out of your experience, but you know, our films, we have to like make sure that they're compelling, that the story flows, that they don't get hung up. And like you said, sometimes they get boring, and you know, people fall asleep.
For Jolinda, you can find it on Prime. Yes, it's on
Amazon. No, go to robotninjamedia.com. You'll find all our films there and where to watch them.
The links where to watch them.
Yeah. robotninjamedia.com. And you'll find all our films with all the links and where to watch, and then you can go from there.
Sorry, I was just trying to
I watched the trailer for that, the Haunting Lodge, and the guy out in the car, he said, so you think, I think if I remember right, you said, I think you think you saw it. I know I saw it, or whatever he was talking about. That was kind of funny.
Yeah.
But you had a couple. I mean, there's quite a few people did you interview quite a few people for that, if I remember correctly?
We actually interviewed more people on this one, even though it was towards like the end of COVID still, but we got to interview more witnesses.
There wasn't
historian.
We wanted to interview everybody who had an experience there, but like this lodge is,
I mean, there's hunters that
they come in from all over. They come from all over the
Yeah.
country, and like, you know, they come in, you know, a group of 4, a group of 2, or a group of 5, and they stay, and they all ask the owner of the lodge the same thing. They're like, hey, did you come in through this door last night and try to walk around and scare us. You know, they say the same things
for 12 years.
For 12 years, he's been hearing this thing over and over again.
The door will open
and so
and close.
You know, he's like, maybe it's haunted. You know, but. And so, you know, that's where Vera and I had the opportunity to go in and bring in, you know, some of our friends to come check this place out.
But I have a feeling that they didn't tell us everything, every single claim, because they wanted. Yeah. I feel like it would have been tested.
He held back stuff.
Yeah, because some stuff is very like.
We had. I mean, it's the most evidence. It's the craziest experience. Yeah. I mean, you watch the film, like, it's one of our most. It's one of our films with the most evidence we've ever captured. I mean, it's crazy. Like I still am just like, what the heck did we, what happened there? You know, especially for her. Cause like, I mean, she got, you know, we slept in the place. So things happen at night to her, you know, like while she was sleeping, and me actually on the couch, like,
but you didn't notice.
But I didn't notice.
So when I was experiencing these things, I thought it was him. You know, he was right next to me, and it wasn't him. The next day, it wasn't him. And I just happened to remember I had a digital recorder when all the noises were happening, and I just turned it on real quick. And because of DVR at the time, the first week we went there, it had no audio. So I was like, there's no way we're going to capture anything. So I turned that digital recorder, and sure enough, she captured like,
her whole event
this
on audio.
Things, like I feel like I was being tortured for hours all night, and but at the end, I was like, I don't think it was like torture. It was just more. I don't know.
I want her attention. I don't know. It's
I don't know
we asked for this stuff. We're trying to document it. It's happening for us, and we're actually pretty lucky that we're able to.
So what's next on your horizon then for documentaries as far as the paranormal goes? Any thoughts?
Yeah, we you know, this last case, this haunting lodge case in Georgia, it really did change our lives. We're still researching what happened there. We're still we're working on some of that. I don't want to say too much, but we have like a lot of questions for what happened there. There's a lot of intelligence going on. A lot of
intelligent communication.
A lot of intelligent communication.
That it's hard to just walk away.
We can't. Yeah, exactly.
It's hard to just walk away from. We could have, but we don't.
We're not going to walk away from this one.
Yeah. I mean, we can't.
Yeah.
It just will be.
Yeah. It would be stupid.
We would not be who we are if we did. Like.
And if I remember correctly, and I might be wrong about this, but in Sleepless Unrest, you guys did some stuff outside.
Yeah.
With a new kind of a technology, if I remember right.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Could you explain that to everybody?
Yeah. So we have this scientific camera that we got from a company called Raytheon, and they probably used it for like some kind of data analysis. The camera is a very sensitive camera, very sensitive on the light, and it basically can see photon events. And you know, the theory of EMF and electromagnetic field spikes in the field, you know, ghosts manifest or manipulate the magnetic field. Well, when you manipulate energy, there's a photon event involved. So this is another way to possibly see something happening visually within a paranormal event. So we have this photon. We actually have 2 photon cameras. So we have a good side-by-side study. Well, we go out to the Conjuring house, and we use that camera.
You were going to
but we use
about
that
the house because Corey Heisen said that some paranormal investigators have claimed to have seen some lights.
And I'm very
so he was like, "Oh, let's go."
Very curious to see if we can capture the lights, and that's the perfect camera to do it. So, you know, we went in the backyard and we point the camera at the house, and we're starting hearing noises from the woods.
So we turn the camera
around. We're like, let's see if we can see it over there. Yeah. And sure enough, you know, these lights start appearing way up in the trees. They're flashing. And, there is no explanation for the type of activity that was happening in the woods with that camera firing off.
Just stay there.
And, and then we got it. We went in deep.
Used that camera in Georgia.
I did use that camera in Georgia.
Yes.
And I got
a
lights.
different kind of response.
Yeah.
And that's what it became a little more intense.
Yeah, that camera is really nice. It's
because we didn't have just the camera; we also have a psychic medium, Jill Morris, who
and this
was
is the haunting
helping in the haunting lodge, the most recent case. Because don't forget, in the Conjuring house, it was freezing cold.
Yeah, it was.
You guys couldn't. The batteries were draining like crazy, so you didn't have like hours and hours filming.
Yeah.
That it was
that happened right away. Like those lights appeared right away.
You guys filmed, and then that was it. And then.
Yeah, and then we all went into the woods, and then I decided, like, I was like, these Bigfoot guys, they knock on trees. Yeah. I'm gonna try that, and I literally knock on the tree with a stick, and I hear knocking back.
That's crazy.
And it was like right close to us, and then there was another one over there, and it was like it happened 3 times. It was the craziest thing.
That's a Grizzlies field.
What's that?
That's a Grizzlies field right there. He's in big.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
I never heard of that before that case. I had no idea. We were never really ever studying.
Yeah, I didn't really have a stance on Bigfoot or any of that stuff, and it was just.
So it was really fascinating.
This is a Conjuring house. It's supposed to be ghosts, like not Bigfoot, but we captured the knocks.
But it was interesting because we start presenting this evidence and people come to us, oh, that's Bigfoot. I'm like, what?
Like what?
Like, oh, we started looking at it like, oh my gosh, it's actually a claim. We had no idea.
Yeah, there's those woods, and then we actually went back to do like this camp out there after the movie had released.
Oh yeah.
And we're out there in the woods, and we see this blue light like tracking.
I saw a blue light.
Yeah, Vera spotted it.
This blue light was out of nowhere. It was blue, beautiful.
It was awesome.
Just floating. And I just like asking it like, okay, if it's a real light and you can hear me consciously, like do it 2 times. And it went boom, boom. And I was like, Gandalf! I started yelling at us.
There was a group of like and there 8 was like people.
10 total maybe. And we all
rushed over.
Some paranormal investigators.
And everybody saw the light we would walk trying to get over behind.
And it kept moving with us.
And it was moving with us. It was the craziest.
I have no idea.
Craziest thing. No, I don't know.
No, and the camera can capture it really very well because it was in the woods among the trees.
I mean, we got a little bit of it. Yeah. It was awesome. I mean, it was like, it couldn't have been swamp gas. Cause like swamp gas, like it was in July. So it was really hot, but yeah,
we had a flashlight. We're like, okay, can you repeat this? And we'll flash 3 times and it will flash back 3 times. It was either a person
or
a trickster.
It wasn't, because the next morning I went back and I was like, I'm going to find out who or how that happened.
So wooded.
Yeah.
And it was like swampy.
It was water. No, it was like a little pond. It was like a 3-foot pond, like where the light was coming from.
I remember asking, like, are there any glowing tree frogs or anything that we don't know of?
It's so fun. Like, you just never know what's going to happen. You're like,
that was interesting.
You got to put yourself out there,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely, man. Have you guys gone anywhere outside of the states for anything just to hunt? I'm sure at the show you probably did with Ghost Hunters. But
he did a bunch, and we've been invited to. Yeah. But we haven't had the chance.
Yeah, we haven't on our production. I mean, that's in the future for sure.
Yeah, we've been invited.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
we're working our way up.
We're getting calls.
These docs are very expensive.
Yeah.
Oh, I bet, man.
So yeah, I mean, but
so then I wanted to ask real quick something out of my curiosity. Wicked Tuna.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, are you like the the film person there, or what do you do for the Wicked Tuna show?
Yeah, I've been with Wicked Tuna for a long time. Wicked Tuna. I'm the director of photography. And this year I was out on the Chase boat, which is like it's a boat that we have a drone operator and then myself, And yeah, I had this really cool camera that could, zoom in almost a mile away. And
You're looking at the moon.
I could, yeah. I mean, it was awesome. Yeah, I'm out there. So the guys call me. They punch in their coordinates, and I go right to them. And then, they're cranking on the fish, or maybe I'm sitting on them, and they hook up, and I get into their fish fights with them on the external boat, doing circles around them. And
it's pretty cool to know that I might have watched a few that you've been involved with, because I used to watch it a lot.
Oh, cool.
That's one of my favorite shows. Flipping through it, you see Wicked Tuna, you always got to stop. You got to see the big fish, man. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I did Wicked Tuna Gloucester and Wicked Tuna Outer Banks, and and then Battlefish. I don't know if you've seen that or not. Battlefish is on Netflix. It's a good one.
Yeah, well, I'll have to look that up.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, I like going after it, like the adventure stuff. So all this is right up our alley. So
you also got a cool romantic travel. I love this one, Trip Flip.
Oh, Trip Flip, with Bert Kreischer. Yeah, he's a cool guy.
Oh yeah.
I thought that was
I traveled the world with that guy. Yeah, he was really cool. Yeah, we did. We would go to like a Whole Foods, and like we would go like the whole camera crew and Bert, and then he'd go and like look for like an athletic young couple, and he'd be like, "Hey," he'd surprise them. "How would you like to go on a crazy adventure?" And they're like, most people said no, but like some people would be like, "Yeah, sure, I guess." And he's like, "Okay." And then he'd be like, "Do you like cold or do you like hot?" And they're like, "We like cold." And then he's like, "Okay, 2 weeks from now, we're going to the Swiss Alps." And then like we'd fly these people to Swiss Alps, and we go heli snowboarding. We go like climb down in an ice ravine. We go sled dogging. We do like 10 activities all within like a week. It was crazy.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that'd be cool. What do you think, Grizz?
Awesome, man. It's been wonderful.
Oh, thanks.
Yes.
Thanks.
So, and just so everybody that's joined in a little bit late, we got Kendall and Vera Welpton on here. We've been talking about their documentaries. They're big into the paranormal, and they've done a lot of stuff for the paranormal, not just into it. They do a lot for it. Promotes it, spreads positivity, which is something that we really, really enjoy, is the positivity in the field. And man, just if you guys get a chance, look up their biographies online. Just type in their names, and you'd be amazed. Kendall's got a book out right now. You want to say that one more time, Kendall? The name of it? Yeah,
it's a children's book. It's great read for ages 8 and up. It's called Kiki and Hawk, The Hole. And you can find that on Amazon and Apple and Barnes and Noble and Roku. The book is an adventure that these kids, my kids, I wrote it about my kids and our dog, the Wizza. And it's a wild adventure into the center of the earth. And they meet a lot of strange people. They have to trust, and they have to decide who to trust and what they make a lot of decisions, and some are the right ones and some are the wrong ones, and they kind of save the underworld. So it's a fun adventure.
Awesome. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, check them out. It's been great having you on the show. You're more than welcome to come back anytime. And make sure and check them out. They're from coast to coast and around the world. We'll call it a wrap and see you at 9:00 tonight.
Thanks,
care,
guys.
everybody.
Thank you.
See you on the next show. Bye-bye.
Bye.